If I asked you for a good plan for a successful life, what kind of an answer could you give me? Stay tuned, we'll come back and talk about that.
Welcome to the Standing for the Faith broadcast with Brother Kevin Weber. With over 25 years of pastoring and radio experience, he has observed we live in a world that is unfamiliar with God's Word. Join Brother Weber as he teaches you truths from the Bible to keep you standing for the faith. Now available on Facebook and YouTube. We'll have more information at the end of the broadcast. Here now is Brother Weber.
When I was in junior high school, we lived in Fairbanks, Alaska, and my dad worked for the University of Alaska. And we lived on campus. We lived in campus housing. One day, as kids were out playing soccer in front of the house when someone kicked the ball through the front window. It wasn't me, but it broke the window. My buddies told me, don't worry about it, because I was panicking. My dad was going to be upset. They said, it's no big deal. The campus will pay for it, and it won't cost your dad anything. It'll be free. Well, I parroted that answer to my dad, and he promptly gave me a lecture that there were no such things as a free lunch, no such things as a free life. In other words, somebody was going to have to pay for that window eventually. Seeing me influenced by my friends in really a socialistic philosophy, Dad made up his mind that he was going to start a business and teach me principles of free enterprise. This one decision changed my life. It really did. It put me on a future path of making friends with good people, with good character and ideas. This reminds me of Psalms chapter 1, verses 1 and 2, and even verse 3. This song in the Bible emphasizes the need to forsake worldly wisdom and have a personal relationship with God's Word. It starts off by telling us, happy or blessed is the man that does three important things. And these principles are negative in nature, but bring about a very positive result. He is told that happiness is dependent on him learning these three things that he is not supposed to do. That's interesting, isn't it? He is not to walk in the counsel of the ungodly. He is not to stand in the company of sinners, and he is not to sit down or make friends with the ungodly. Psalm 1:1 says this, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. Isn't it interesting that God starts off with something that is negative, telling us three things that we're not to do? Kind of reminds me of life. We started off learning no, didn't we? Maybe before Mama and Dada. Some of you did. Because we got into things, did things we shouldn't do. These pieces of advice are some of the most important principles that a Christian can live by and should be learned while somebody's a young man or woman. Notice that there is a natural progression that the psalmist is trying to tell us. First, he said the blessed or happy man is not to walk around seeking the counsel of the ungodly. I get the idea of someone who is just mingling, just moving from person to person, listening to ideas that have no biblical perspective. He could be learning this in school, or at the job, even in church. These ideas sound intriguing, but they just don't quite line up with God's Word. The next progression is he is not to stand in the way of sinful people. In other words, he has stopped mingling or walking, and now he is standing and giving the ideas that he heard consideration. The ideas are starting to sound good to him. At least he's intrigued by them. The final progression is that he sits down in the seat of the scornful, or critical people. This means he is now sitting with those people. He is sharing those ideas. They are becoming his ideas. And now he has made up his mind. And when he's in this state, it's next to impossible to change his mind. God says that happy or blessed is the man that does not participate in these three things, walking, standing, or sitting. But he delights in God's word. Listen to verse 2. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. He gathers his learning from God's principles and from God's people. He reads after them. He studies after them. He watches the good and the bad in their lives, and he forms principles of his own. And God offers him a great promise. The promise is to be abundantly prosperous, just like a tree that's been planted by a river. Listen to this. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of waters, that bring forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. Can you picture this tree? I can. A tree that is fully sustained and able to prosper. This wealth is not necessarily measured by the amount of money in the checkbook, but by the stability of his life and its effect on others. His ability to produce good things and reproduce it in others. You see, he has become the blessed or the happy man. What about you? Are you happily contented Christian? Are you a happily contented Christian? This is God's desire for your life. Thanks for joining us for Standing for the Faith.
Thanks for watching today's broadcast. If you would like to be notified when more of these are available, then simply subscribe to our YouTube channel or like us on Facebook. Be sure to share this with your friends and encourage them to join our broadcast. To view archived broadcasts, visit us at standingforthefaith.com. Remember, watch ye, stand fast in the faith, quit you like men, be strong. 1 Corinthians 16:13.